Hi everyone, for this recipe we're going to need 500 ml of room temperature water, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, 1 tablespoon of salt, and a pinch of pepper. Now we're going to add 400 grams of pork, and then we're going to bring this to boil until the pork becomes tender. And we're going to divide this into two for the two recipes that we're going to make for today. So I'm going to separate the pork. You can drain it if you want, but we need to keep the water because we're going to use it later. Now for the tofu, we're going to use 5 blocks and I just sliced it into 2. So we have 10 now. And I'm going to pat dry it using a table napkin. You want it to be dry before you fry it. You can repeat the process if you think there's still water. So as you can see now, it's dry and very firm, and this is how you want it. Now we're going to need some pan and heat some oil. Make sure that it's very hot before we fry the tofu, and we're going to put in the tofu blocks. And since we have 2 recipes for today, we're going to divide these tofu blocks into 2, so we're going to use 5 in each recipe. After a few minutes, you can check if it's golden brown, and then you can flip it over so that we can cook the other side of the tofu. Once it's golden brown, you can remove it from the oil and fry the remaining tofu blocks. Now we're going to slice the tofu into cubes. So I'm just slicing it here and on the other side. So we have 9 cubes in each tofu blocks, and I'm just going to repeat the process. And we're going to divide this into 2 for the 2 recipes. Next, we're going to saute 2 cloves of garlic and 1 medium-sized onion. And forgive me if it's blurred. I don't have a high-tech camera with me. Okay, there it is. Next, we're going to add a thumb-sized sliced ginger, half portion of the boiled pork we had earlier, two tablespoons of soy sauce, half portion of the pork stock that we had earlier, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, and a tablespoon of brown sugar. Then stir until everything is well incorporated. Once the sauce becomes thicker, now we're going to add the napa cabbage or pechay, which is sliced into strips, and we're just going to mix it. Now we're going to add the tofu and we're going to stir, and as you can see, you will notice that the sauce is being soaked up by the tofu, which will make it tastier later. Just continue mixing for about a minute, then you can turn off the heat. By the way, you can also add black beans for this recipe if you want. I just want to add some black sesame seeds, but it's optional. And that's our first recipe for today. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video. For the next recipe, we're going to use the remaining pork stock that we have earlier. And we're going to add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce to this, and a tablespoon of brown sugar, and a pinch of black pepper. And we're just going to mix it until it's well combined. We're also going to need a tablespoon of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water, and we're going to stir it. Next, we're going to cook the sauce that we prepared. We're going to bring it to boil, and once it boils, we're going to add the cornstarch mixture so that we can have a thicker sauce. Just continue stirring until it is well combined. And then once it boils, we're going to add our pork, the second portion of the pork that we had earlier. So we're just going to mix it. Add some red and green chili. Then add the tofu. And then continue mixing it. Now at this point, I just turn off the fire and I'll just let the tofu soak up the sauce. So for the red and green chili, it's up to you how many you're going to add depending on your preference. For this recipe, I want to add some fresh onions. This is 1 medium-sized onion that I just sliced. Now this will add a stronger flavor and a crunchy texture. So if you love crunchy and spicy food, I'm sure you're going to enjoy this. I'd like to add some spring onions on top so it adds more flavor to it. That's it for today's recipe. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video.